welcome everybody to Michigan International Speedway. My name's Josh Hall, and we're here with the Extreme Forces Racing League for the Morris Customs 90 here at Michigan. My name's Josh Hall. Thanks for joining us here tonight as we get ready for some wild action here at Michigan. Currently at the top of the speed charts, we've got Jimmy Green and Josh Carver, with Joe Wright, our fan favorite, sitting back in third. Let's take a look, see who's out on track right now. We see a little drafting right now between Joe Wright and Austin Blaylock. Let's take a quick peek at our point standings right now. Excuse me. Joe Wright currently your points leader, with 3 wins on the season, and Chris Wheeler, Brady Floyd, Jacob Bowen, and Bryn George round out your top 5. Eddie Morris hanging back in 6th. Tyler Aspinall down in 7th. David Wright, Austin Green, and Josh Carver make up your top 10 as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. And we get ready for our championship here. Taking a look, see who your favorite drivers are out on in the points as we get back to looking at some racing on track. And again, right now, Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock drafting with each other, kind of figuring out how these cars are going to draft here, how the side draft's going to work. I know Austin doesn't drive these cars too often. It's good to see Austin Blaylock back here on iRacing. Don't forget, if this is your first broadcast with us here on Intensity Broadcasting, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe here. Also, don't forget to follow or subscribe to our Twitter as well. You can find that at Intensity Broad 1. And if you're new to iRacing, or if you're a little veteran, or you want to try out iRacing for the first time, iRacing does have a great Black Friday deal going on right now, where you can get 25% off a 1-year membership. So check that out. You can go iracing.com/Black Friday for your Black Friday deals. Eddie Morris currently the 4th fastest on the speed charts as we look at it right now. Eddie Morris sponsoring the race tonight with the Morris Customs machine here. This is the Morris Customs 90 here from Michigan. 90 laps from Michigan. One of Joe's favorite tracks. It's kind of a super speedway in a sense, but without the restrictor plate, these guys are going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 wide through the corners. They always provide a great finish here at Michigan as well, so we'll be looking forward to seeing how this one plays out here, as we're going to be qualifying in just about 30 seconds. As the season is coming down to an end. We'll see who can score those points to propel themselves towards the top of the points. So qualifying has just concluded. We're going to get ready for qualifying to start. Let's see who the first car out on track is here tonight. Try to put down that first fast lap. Looks like Bryn George is going to be one of the first cars start rolling out on track. The Martinsburg, West Virginia native. Kind of a throwback paint job. Kind of got that Ray Bestis look to it. That old Ray Bestis paint job with the Caterpillar logo. So kind of a mixed blend of paints right there. Very sweet looking ride. course, an old Ray Bestis machine with those colors, very similar to Jeff Burton, who also drove the 31 Caterpillar car for a while, so a little bit of blending back to the Jeff Burton days. As Bryn runs right up against the wall, and you'll notice this track has a little bit of character. It has a little bumps down that backstretch. You'll see these guys moving around a little bit in the draft with the cars bouncing around down the backstretch. Again, we'll see 3, 4 wide through the corners. Corners are wide enough to really allow for some great racing. Whether it's down almost on the apron, some people even drive down on the apron, or if it's right up against the wall, you'll see Bryn George drive it real deep into the corner, try to get it down towards that first seam. That seems to be where the most grip is. Feathers it out to the wall, and you'll see the car bounce around quite a bit here down the backstretch. Not as much as you would see at Auto Club Speedway, as this track and Auto Club are very similar to each other. We know Joe Wright did win the race at Auto Club this year. So with this being a very similar track, we should see Joe running back up front here tonight. As Bryn George comes across the line, and he will currently be in the 3rd position. Tyler Aspinall out on track right now, coming down the backstretch. He's got 2 wins in the Extreme Force Racing League on Monday nights. Let's see what he can do here on Tuesday night to try to get himself up towards the front here for a good starting spot. Tyler's first lap is going to be good enough for 8th as he gets right down on that yellow line through turns 1 and 2. Try and take the shortest way around the track as possible. Keeps it tucked down on the bottom instead of bringing the momentum up to the wall. As he comes through turns 3 and 4, tries to keep it pinned right down there on that bottom. Oh, has a little connection issue. Uses the apron through turns 3 and 4 as he comes down across the apron on the front stretch to try to get as much speed out of that car as possible. And Tyler is going to move up to the pole with a 40.26. See Eddie Morris on track right now for his first time lap. Eddie comes through turns 3 and 4. Across the stripe for the first lap. And his first lap will be good enough for 9th as Brady Floyd just moves up into the 3rd position. Joe Wright into 4th. Eddie using every inch of that track, trying to keep it pinched down low through the corner. Try to take that track as short as he can to get the most speed. As we have just about 10 seconds left in qualifying here, Eddie's going to bring it down across the apron to the stripe and move Eddie up into the 6th position. So that's going to do it for qualifying here. 2 cars did not qualify. So let's take a look at our starting grid. With Tyler Aspinall in the 45 on pole. Austin Blaylock in the 99 starting on the outside. Row 2 will find the 20 of Brady Floyd and the 82 of Joseph Wright. Then Josh Carver in the 3. He'll be rolling off 5th with Eddie Morris in the 6th position. 7th position is going to be Jimmy Green and Mike Rentz. Rolling off 8th, Ed DeBauer in the 9th spot with Dave Wright rounding out your top 10. Then Bryn George in the 7, Chris Wheeler in the 22, and Stan Mayberry in the 68 will round out the field here tonight. So 13 cars to take the green here at Michigan. Might be short on cars, but this will not be short on excitement, as championship implications are still on the line here at Michigan. So as we wait for the rest of the field to grid up, see the cars lined up on pit road. Looks like we're just waiting for Chris Wheeler to get into his car. I know Chris was a late entry coming in here tonight. And we'll get ready for 90 laps here from Michigan International Speedway. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. Got a great doubleheader going for you tomorrow night. We'll have the Mayhem Modifieds taken off at 8 Eastern, followed by the SCSRA Xfinity Series. So you're not going to want to miss that. It'll be two great races. SCSRA is getting close to getting ready for the playoffs as well. They'll be going off from Kentucky tomorrow night. Thursday, we've got our Thunderstruck Series. Friday, the Extreme Xfinity Series. Saturday, you'll have the Send It Cup Series for their championship. And then Sunday, you've got your truck doubleheader, another championship weekend for the original Rebel Series. So you're not going to want to miss any of the exciting racing here on Intensity Broadcasting. Tyler Aspinall is going to lead him down to the starting line on the inside. Austin Blaylock to the outside. Tyler's still having a little bit of a connection issue there. We're seeing him blink in and out. Hopefully that clears up here as the race goes on. We get ready for some exciting action here from Michigan. So pace car's getting ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Again, Tyler Aspinall is going to lead him down to the starting zone. Austin Blaylock, Brady Floyd, Joe Wright. Austin's going to pinch down Tyler here on the start. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here. And already some little bump drafting going on right from the start. We saw Brady Floyd giving Tyler Aspinall the big shove down here through the front stretch. That high line just not going the way that they were hoping, as Austin Blaylock is starting to fall back quite a bit. Started on the outside pole, now he's already fallen back to the 6th position as Brady Floyd and Josh Carver. Josh Carver looking down to the inside of Brady Floyd, trying to take that 2nd position already. And Joe Wright already making some aggressive moves as well on the low side, trying to move himself forward. So he's going to lead our first lap here as Josh Carver takes a look to the inside. Aspinall is going to throw the big block. As they come across the line, Aspinall will lead the first lap here. But Josh Carver and that number 3 Mustang fighting hard on the outside as we are 3 wide. And a little contact it looked like between the 3 and the 20. Joe Wright way down on the bottom. He tried to get by both of them. He will. And now he's going to challenge Tyler Aspinall as they come down the backstretch. Here comes Austin Blaylock and Eddie Morris behind Joe here, trying to give them the big push up to the front as we're back 3 wide. Tyler Aspinall all the way up to the high side. He's going to get freight trained up there. As we see the field come across the stripe and give the lead to Joe Wright. See the 88 of Ed Bauer already down working that apron. We see some 3 wide racing down here as well through turns 1 and 2. Now Austin Blaylock now battling on the outside, trying to get by Joe, using a little bit of that side draft, trying to pull Joe back. Eddie Morris hanging right there. Oh, some contact almost between the 82 and the 99. Blaylock's going to have to tuck in behind. Eddie Morris is going to hang out there as well. Here comes Brady Floyd looking down to the apron, take it 3 wide down on the apron. And move Brady Floyd up into the second position. He's going to slide up in front of Joe. Joe's not going to like that. Here comes the 3 of Josh Carver and the 7 of Bryn George up on the high side. They're going to take 3 wide on Eddie Morris here as Austin Blaylock goes all the way down to the bottom of the track. Try to get a big block here as they come down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4. Blaylock having a great run so far here tonight, leading some laps, get up to the front. While behind, we've got 3 wide racing again. Aspinall on the bottom, Eddie Morris in the middle. Here comes Bryn George. He was right behind Josh Carver. Now he's going to fall in behind Eddie Morris as they come across the stripe. And Dave Wright up into that 4th spot, having a great start. Already up 6 positions. Him and Eddie DeBauer just kind of following each other forward. And they're 3rd and 4th respectively as Tyler Aspinall is working down on the bottom trying to get himself around Dave Wright. Not going to have the momentum to do it just yet. As Brady Floyd is working the outside of Josh Carver. So already these boys wasting no time getting the action started here at Michigan. As we're working lap number 6 of 90. Again, some side-by-side racing, a little wiggle out of the 20 of Brady Floyd, but able to hold on to it as Joe Wright now challenges for the lead down the backstretch. Got the big push from the 88, but here comes the 24 giving a big push to the 99. So Dave Wright trying to push Austin Blaylock back past his brother as Dave's now moved up into the 2nd position. And now Brady Floyd giving the big push to Joe Wright. Dave's going to jump up to the high side, up in front of Joe as they come down the front stretch into turn 1. They're going to have a big run here on the high side. Lap after lap, battling for position. 3 wide again as Brady Floyd making it a tight jump up in front of Joe Wright yet again. Now Floyd all over the back bumper of David Wright. Bryn George was able to follow through, and Joe's going to fall all the way back into the 10th position. I don't know if Joe's just saw the mess that's the bee's nest that's happening in front of him as we got more 3 wide racing. The 25 of Jimmy Green all the way down on the apron. Brady Floyd in the middle. David Wright on the outside. Now Josh Carver down on the bottom. And I think Joe just saw that big mess happening in front of him, and he said, you know what, I'm going to back out of this. I'm going to head to the back where it's nice and safe for the moment. As we are about 10 laps away from our stage break. Eddie Morris now up to the lead, but they are 3 wide. Josh Carver, now they're 4 wide. As Brady Floyd's going to jump all the way up to the high side. They're able to make that work. Back to 3 wide. I said they were going to be 4 and 5 wide, and we're seeing it already. So some big aggressive moves being made here towards the back as Brady Floyd and Bryn George have taken over the lead. But here comes a big push out of Jimmy Green to Josh Carver. Trying to propel that 3 car up to the front. And some tight racing just behind as Eddie Morris is tightly in there 3 wide. As we are working lap 10 of 90. And these NexGen cars, they push a lot of air. They're very stuck into the racetrack. They have nice big wide tires. They have a ton of grip, and you're seeing that now as these cars are able to kind of put them, the drivers are able to put their cars kind of wherever they want. Ooh, almost a bump draft gone wrong as Josh Carver was almost underneath Bryn George. We are 4 wide through turns 3 and 4. 5 wide for a second through turns 3 and 4 and across the stripe. And now Joe Wright and Dave Wright with the big run up on the high side. Those 2 cars hooked up, trying to propel themselves up to the front. Looks like the field is starting to calm down a little bit. From the 4 and 5 ride racing we just saw, Dave Wright with the big side draft. Oh, the 20 gets into Dave. They go around. The 20 and the 24 involved. That's going to bring out our first wreckage rewind of the night. But a tough break, as it looked like the 20 was trying to do a little side drafting. Came right down into the 20 of Brady Floyd. As we take a look back at our wreckage rewind. See Dave come up for the side draft. And we see Brady Floyd come down just a little bit. Catches the 20 and the 24. Joe Wright able to sneak through without any damage. And then here comes Mike Rentz with nowhere to go. He's caught up in it. Looks like DeBauer just barely missed out on that. Let's see if we can ride along with Dave Wright here and see what happened here. We'll take a look from the right front here. Oh, that's the wrong car. We want to get the right front of Dave here. We'll see just how close this racing was. Yeah, you can see the 20 car drift right down into the side of the 24. It was all over from there. So a few cars on pit road. Eddie Morris, Jimmy Green, Josh Carver, Brady Floyd, Ed DeBauer, Stan Mayberry, David Wright, all on pit road. Obviously, David and the 20 car of Brady Floyd having to come down to get damage fixed. See if they're going to use their resets here. Looks like Dave did use his reset. And the 20 of Brady Floyd also using his reset. So both those drivers without a reset. And that's going to give the lead to the 82 of Joe Wright. So Joe, Britton George, Tyler Aspinall, and Austin Blaylock all choosing to stay out under this yellow flag. Especially with the end of the stage coming up pretty soon in about 5 laps. So it makes sense to stay out there, get the track position. But the drivers who came in won't have to come in under that stage break. So a little bit of strategy being played out on both sides. The lights are off on the pace car. Joe's going to choose the inside lane here. Britton George going to be up on the outside. Tyler Aspinall and Austin Blaylock in row number 2. And we see they're in the chat. Don't forget, we have the chat on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. No matter what platform you're watching on, let us know who you're rooting on here tonight. Let us know who you think is going to be the winner here tonight at Michigan. We know Joe Wright's won the last 2 races. Can he make it 3 in a row? Or will we have a different winner tonight? Can Eddie Morris break through with a big win here tonight? Or Tyler Aspinall, or can Chris Wheeler get another win here in the season? So we'll see as we get ready, as the pace car pulls off. Joe Wright leads him back down to the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. And a great jump from that 82 machine to get way out in front of Bryn George. That's going to pull Tyler Aspinall up there as well. Joe's going to go up to the high side, try to block that, give the little bit of air to that high side, a little bit of a draft and pull them along. Aspinall's going to move up into the second position. Awesome Blaylock, though, right behind Aspinall, trying to shove him up to the front as they're both to the inside of Bryn George now. Joe Wright's going to come down to the low lane here. Throw the block on that low lane that was coming. Here comes Chris Wheeler up through the field. Wheeler up 7 positions currently. Up into the 5th position, and Wheeler led so much of the season early in the season. Falling back a little bit the last few races. Trying to make some aggressive moves to get himself back towards the front in the points. As Bryn George, Austin Blaylock, Eddie Morris up on the high side. They're 3 wide again down the backstretch with Blaylock on the bottom. Bryn George in the middle. Brady Floyd not being shy with that front bumper, really pushing on that 7 machine to propel that car forward. They're side by side behind Joe Wright, and that's what Joe wants to see. Although here comes the 7 of Bryn George. Try to challenge Joe Wright on the high side. He's got the help from Brady Floyd back there in that 20 machine. You see Eddie Morris up there as well. A little wiggle out of Tyler Aspinall. And now Bryn George and Brady Floyd starting to pull away a little bit. Right now you could throw the whole field under a blanket. As they continue to try to make it 3 wide a little further back in the field. Chris Wheeler now, Wheeler on the high side. Blaylock was on the bottom. I saw 2 Valvoline cars and throwing me for a loop here tonight. Now Eddie Morris looking down to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide on Tyler Aspinall and Dave Wright. He's got the help from Austin Blaylock behind. Those 2 cars are going to start moving themselves forward. Up front here, Bryn George starting to get challenged here as the 25 of Jimmy Green had a great run on the 20 of Brady Floyd and the 7 of Bryn George. Now he's going to look down to the inside. He's going to have to tuck back in line. You see Joe Wright and Chris Wheeler now battling back here. Trying to move themselves forward. Here comes Joe looking down to the inside of Jimmy Green to take that 3rd spot away. And Chris Wheeler. Wheeler just jumped out from behind Joe. Now he's going to go up to the high side with Jimmy Green. But Joe's got some help in the form of the 99. And as I say that, the 99 jumps right down to the bottom, puts Joe in the middle 3 wide. He's in a Valvoline sandwich right now with Chris Wheeler to the outside, Austin Blaylock to the inside. His brother Dave just went right on by on the outside, pushing Chris Wheeler. So move Chris Wheeler up into the 4th position. Dave Wright up in the 5th. As those 2 machines are trying to move themselves forward to challenge up here for the lead. Here comes Jimmy Green looking down underneath Brady Floyd. We've seen side drafting going wrong earlier in the race as Dave Wright makes a big aggressive move down to the bottom to get around Jimmy Green, take over the 4th position. He's going to try to draft back up to Chris Wheeler. Jimmy Green, though, saying not so fast. He's going to use a little side draft here, trying to pull that the 24 machine backwards, and which he does. Here comes Joe Wright. Who's he going to go with? Who's he going to help here as they come down the front stretch? It looks like a little bit of damage to the right side of that 82 as the caution is out for the stage break. And Bryn George is going to be your stage winner. With Brady Floyd coming in second. Chris Wheeler back in third. Dave Wright in fourth. Joseph Wright getting some playoff points, or sorry, some stage points here in fifth. Jimmy Green, Josh Carver, Tyler Aspinall, Austin Blaylock, and Ed DeBauer round out your top 10 in the stage. Be interesting to see what strategies play out here now. Mostly everybody came in on the last stop to take fuel. A couple drivers took tires and repairs. See who comes down pit road this time. Imagine we might see the entire field down on pit road, as Michigan is usually a fuel mileage race. We'll see if that's the case here again tonight. And we do see the entire field coming down pit road. See if we can get a good view here of the race off pit road. Set that up here. Kind of set your line here. And it looks like Brady Floyd was going to be the first car off pit road. I was trying to get a good view here, but wasn't able to. Dave Wright, Stan Mayberry comes off in third. Bryn George, Joe Wright falls all the way back to the 5th position. So gas and go for Brady Floyd, Dave Wright, and Stan Mayberry. Bryn George, the first car to take tires. Mike Rentz back in 6th with fuel only. So a few different strategies here, but Dave Wright using the fuel only to get himself out first. So Dave Wright up to the front here at Michigan. Stan Mayberry to his outside here for the restart. Bryn George and Joe Wright back in second. Mike Rentz, Josh Carver, they'll be in the 3rd row with Jimmy Green and Chris Wheeler in the 4th row. Tyler Aspinall, Austin Blaylock in row number 5. Row 6 be Ed DeBauer and Eddie Morris. And Brady Floyd will be taking up the rear. As the pace car gets ready to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing as Dave Wright got a big jump off Stan Mayberry and Bryn George. Here comes Joe Wright, giving Mayberry the business on the back bumper, trying to get him on by. George, though, fighting back hard on the inside. And Mayberry's going to slide back here as Joe Wright and Bryn George battle off of turn number 2. Joe Wright looking down to the inside, wasn't able to make that work. Tucks back in behind the 7. Here comes the 3 of Josh Carver, the 22 of Chris Wheeler. Wheeler down the inside. We are 3 wide for a moment, but big move there from Chris Wheeler. Now they're back 3 wide. Wheeler, Dave Wright, and Josh Carver almost bouncing off each other as they come through the tri-oval here at Michigan to complete lap number 27. So no time going back to 3 and 4 wide racing right off the green flag. Some of these guys trying to make the best use of those tires as we got a battle for the lead. Joe Wright looking down to the inside of Bryn George. Coming into turns 3 and 4. Can Joe make that move? Here comes the Valvoline machines of Chris Wheeler and Austin Blaylock up on the high side. They're 3 wide for the lead with Chris Wheeler to the outside, Joe Wright to the bottom, Bryn George in the middle. And Chris Wheeler and Austin Blaylock are going to drive right around those two up on the high side. Also, here comes Josh Carver and Jimmy Green up on the high side, moving Joe Wright and Bryn George back to 6th and 5th, respectively. Now Joe's got some help on the bottom side. He's got Tyler Aspinall giving him a big push. Eddie Morris right behind, up front. Austin Blaylock and Chris Wheeler continue to start to stretch their legs and pull away. Josh Carver, Jimmy Green up on the high side. Joe Wright, Tyler Aspinall on the bottom. A little contact between between Bryn George and Tyler Aspinall back here. Joe started to make it work by himself down on the bottom. Now he's going to tuck back in line behind Jimmy Green. Tyler Aspinall is going to pull right along with him. And the whole field pretty much goes single file, although Josh Carver now just made the big move to the inside to get around Austin Blaylock. Down to the apron to try to get around Chris Wheeler. Wheeler, tries to throw a block. They wasn't quite clear. They make a little contact. More contact behind between Austin Blaylock and the 25 of Jimmy Green. Tyler Aspinall up to the high side. They're going to make it 3 wide. Joe Wright up there as well. They're 3 by 3, 2 rows back. And 3 wide back for the lead. Joe Wright up on the high side. Josh Carver down the bottom. Chris Wheeler stuck in the middle. Blaylock continuing to go with Wheeler. Here comes Eddie Morris up into the mix as well, down on that bottom lane, getting a big shove from the 88 of DeBauer. Now DeBauer looking down to the inside, trying to make it 4 wide as they come through the quad oval. And they do. They're 4 wide coming towards turn number 1. 88 has to get out of it, though. It slides back behind Eddie Morris. Just back to 3 wide as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. Here's Eddie Morris, though, back down to the bottom, trying to make it 4 wide yet again. Almost a little contact between Joe Wright and Austin Blaylock. There's Josh Carver up to the front with Jimmy Green giving him the shove. But Austin Blaylock and Chris Wheeler back together, those 2 Valvoline machines, trying to work them way to the front. Josh Carver all the way down to the grass through the tri-oval, trying to protect that low lane, nobody gets the big run down there. One car that's been missing from this pack right now is Brady Floyd, who is 3 seconds off of this pack. Him and Mike Rentz are running together, trying to make their way back up to this group, but falling fast, as just 2 of them are not fast enough to keep up with this big pack. Here comes Bryn George trying to push Eddie Morris up to the front. Josh Carver throws the big block. Eddie gives him the business on that front bumper. Everybody's able to hold on to it and continue forward. Chris Wheeler Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock up on the high side, trying to make that lane work. Try to get back around Josh Carver. Here comes Wheeler around Carver, but Eddie Morris with the big shove on the bottom lane. As they work their way through the tri-oval here. And we're back to 3 wide racing as they come towards turn number 1. And some tight 3 wide racing at that, as the 88 of Ed DeBauer and Chris Wheeler almost made some contact there, as they were just wheel to wheel coming down the backstretch. Right along here with Joe Wright, we see what he sees, and something you don't see watching from behind, just how much movement these cars have as they're constantly moving forward and back, left and right. Not hearing them lift here, just riding around in 5th gear like a super speedway. They are 3 wide up at the front for the lead. Chris Wheeler up to the front. Here comes Eddie Morris down on the bottom. 3 wide behind. As Carver is going to pull away from that little group back there. Now Joe Wright giving the business to the 99 of Austin Blaylock, trying to propel him towards the front. Dave Wright right behind Joe. Trying to get the Wright brothers up to the front here, trying to work together. Josh Carver with no help on that low line. He's just starting to fade backwards. As I say that, the 88 of Bauer comes now to the back bumper of Josh Carver, trying to move him forward. Austin Blaylock's going to slide down a little bit, give a little bit of air to the front bumper of Joe Wright, who's now got the push from his brother. Chris Wheeler, though, all front, all alone, and that's going to be trouble for that 22 machine, as the rest of the field able to be drafting. They're going to swallow him up right here. He's going to try to throw a block down on that bottom lane. Now he's going to try to block the high side of Joe Wright. Joe's going to look right underneath him here as they come down the backstretch. Josh Carver tucks in behind Joe Wright. Joe's going to go right to the lead with a push here from the 3 machine of Josh Carver. Ride racing again in the back. Bryn George, Austin Blaylock, Jimmy Green were just 3 wide back here. Eddie Morris has fallen all the way back to the 10th position. So we're seeing that a lot tonight. Joe Wright now sandwiched in the middle. Got a sucker hold right now between the 22 and the 3. And with no help, we're seeing drivers fall all the way to the back and then drive them way back to the front. Eddie Morris currently in the 10th position. Now he's got a little draft from the 99 of Austin Blaylock. And that 8 machine is going to try to move himself back up to the front. Now he sees Joe Wright up on the high side. They're going to start to work together temporarily. As the 25, Jimmy Green, is trying to get to the inside of the 7 of Bryn George, and he's going to get there. Chris Wheeler now with a mirror full of David Wright. Tyler Aspinall following right behind as well. Dave Wright pull right up on that back bumper. A little push. Not hard enough to get that 22 machine out of shape, but a good enough push to propel that 22 machine out front just a little bit more. Here comes the run from the 24 yet again. See just how close these drivers are getting here. At close to 200 miles an hour. Yeah, 183, 184 down the backstretch. These drivers are not having to do much lifting at all. Now the field's starting to get a little more single file again for the time being. Everybody, kind of like we see in super speedway racing and NASCAR, everybody's starting to get single file lined up. Now they're going to start logging some laps as they know just how aggressive they can be, what they need to do to get where they need to be. And again, 10 seconds behind this pack, we've got the 20 of Brady Floyd and the 91 of Mike Rentz running all by themselves. So trouble for those two drivers. Not in danger of going a lap down just yet. But as the laps wind down, take a look at the track map, you can see just how far behind they are. Almost an entire straightaway. Hoping to get a little bit of help here from a caution to get themselves back up towards that. Here you see Eddie Morris under attack from the 25. Now the 3 of Josh Carver joining the 25, trying to make a move around. Now they tuck back in line. Thought these guys were going to run in line for just a little bit, but looks like the 25 of Jimmy Green had different thoughts here, as now Josh Carver and Ed DeBauer jump down to the low side to try to get around Eddie Morris and Bryn George. Top 4, though, all lined up nose to tail. Now the 25 should have to tuck back in line. So they're really not able to get any momentum going while the rest of the field runs single file. These drivers have been out there for about 23 laps on this. Sorry, not 23. 21 laps on this run here. I believe the fuel window should be somewhere around lap 35. So we'll probably see some pit stops in the next 15 laps or so as they're back to 3 wide racing here. Didn't want to sit down in line too long. As Joe Wright moves down to the bottom. Now tucks back up in line. Dave Wright, Tyler Aspinall, second and third. Not quite able to challenge 22 just yet. We got Austin Blaylock back there as well. Here comes Jimmy Green looking down to the inside of Austin Blaylock. Tries to slide up. Isn't quite enough room. Spooks Blaylock. He had to get out of the throttle. Here comes Josh Carver to the inside of Blaylock. That's going to shuffle Blaylock all the way back to the 7th position. Now Jimmy Green looking down to the inside of Tyler Aspinall. Those 3 cars, the 25, the 3, and the 88, been working together and slowly moving their way up towards the front lap after lap. Jimmy Green tried to get down there. Now he just pushed up the track. Josh Carver was going to dive down to the bottom, get all the way down on the apron. They're 3 wide now. Back for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. 1st through 3rd still lined up single file. Now Austin Blaylock and Joe Wright able to get single file behind our leaders here. And they're starting to pull on Jimmy Green just a little bit. Bryn George now right there to the back bumper of Joe Wright. One driver who's kind of fallen off the picture for at least the time being is Eddie Morris, who's currently sitting at the back of this pack, trying to get his way around Stan Mayberry. Maybe using a little bit of strategy, trying to save a little bit of fuel. Keep himself out of trouble. We are just past halfway. As we're single file, we'll take a quick run through the field here as we've got Chris Wheeler currently leading here in the 22 machine with Dave Wright sitting back in second place. Tyler Aspinall, your pole sitter, up into the third position. Austin Blaylock hanging back in fourth with Joe Wright sitting back in fifth, your points leader. Then Bryn George back in the sixth position with Ed DeBauer sitting back in seventh. That's a little gap back to the 25 of Jimmy Green, the 3 of Josh Carver, the 68 of Stan Mayberry, Eddie Morris sitting back in 11th, and then 12 and a half seconds behind the field, we've got the 20 of Brady Floyd and the 91 of Mike Rentz. So that's your entire field now as they run. We see Chris Wheeler, Dave Wright, Tyler Aspinall, Austin Blaylock, Joe Wright, Bryn George, all just running single file again. Kind of calming down just a little bit. There's a lot of race left to go. Doesn't make sense to push anything right now. And that's what they continue to do. Next week, we're going short track racing as the Extreme Forces Racing League Tuesday Night Tussle will be taking on Bristol for 150 laps. So that'll be a great one as well. Going from the super speedway-like track here at Michigan to the world's fastest half mile at Bristol, followed by Kansas and Las Vegas. So again, coming down to the end of the season. Josh Carver, Jimmy Green, Ed DeBauer now on pit road. 3 of them are down and away. 3 of them pitting together, which means that they're going to be able to draft together and stay out there. Whoops. As we see where they're going to come out with the rest of the field. There comes the rest of the field right on by. So it looks like pitting will cost you a lap here. And I kind of figured these guys were going to come in right around lap 35 to 40. That's Chris Wheeler now on the low lane. He's going to come down pit road. Able to get it slowed down. And he's going to be on pit road by himself. Now, because he pit right after the rest of those other three, he should be able, in theory, to come out at the same time and be right around those 3 and hopefully be able to latch onto them as Dave Wright takes over the lead here at Michigan. Brady Floyd and Mike Rentz both on pit road as well. We see Dave Wright down on the low side, slowing down. Oh, he gets hit. He's slowing down the pit. He gets hit by the 3. Able to hold on to it. Caution is out as everybody comes down on the pit road. That's going to bring up another wreckage rewind as we see what happened. We saw the 84 trying to pit. We knew he was pitting. Saw him slowing down on the track. Trying to find the right driver here as we take a look to see what happened to Dave Wright here. We see him down on the bottom. We know he's slowing down to pit here. He's calling out he's pitting on track. The 3 of Josh Carver just comes right up or slams him in the back. Tyler Aspinall has to stay out. He gets spun around. He was trying to hold on to it. Let's take a look here and we see Aspinall. Wright just comes up and hits Aspinall. Aspinall's not, neither one of them could really do anything. And Tyler tried to slow down to get back on the pit road and completely misses it and spins through the grass. Let's ride along with the 3 just to see how quickly he wasn't able to avoid this. We see these 2 guys coming down on the pit road. I don't think Josh Carver realizes that he clipped the 80 or the 24 that way. So Dave Wright used his reset up earlier. Has a little bit of damage to the back of that car. It's not too significant. It looks pretty bad, but it's not too significant. He doesn't have too much damage to the front of that car. He should still be competitive, but a tough break for that 24 machine. So Chris Wheeler will be your leader, being the beneficiary of that yellow flag coming out. Austin Blaylock comes off of pit road in second. Oh, sorry, Stan Mayberry off of pit road in second. And Austin Blaylock sitting in third. Joe Wright in fourth. Actually, I think there's going to be quite a few penalties here because of all those guys on pit road or coming on the pit road when the yellow flag came out. So, oh, now we see Chris Wheeler coming back down pit road to get top off on fuel here. So some strategy being played here as Josh Carver and Tyler Aspinall will be 1 and 2. When we come back to the green flag, lights are off on the pace car. We're going to re-rack them, restack them, refire them. Tyler Aspinall with a lot of damage to the left front of that, or left side of that car. Austin Blaylock. I think Austin Blaylock may be your leader here. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like they're giving an EOL to the 3, which would make sense because he's the one who caused the yellow to come out. So yes, an EOL to the 3 of Josh Carver will put Austin Blaylock and Tyler Aspinall up on the front row. And due to all those cars being penalized and going to the tail end of the longest line, looks like we got some sorting out to do here. Looks like this may be just almost a single file restart with just Austin Blaylock up on the high side. So here we go. The pace car pulls off on the pit road. Green flag is back in the air. And Austin Blaylock able to tuck in right behind Tyler Aspinall. So a great jump for those 2 drivers. You see Joe Wright hanging back there in the 3rd spot. And Eddie Morris up here as well. So these 4 have been working together all race long, lined up nose to tail. I thought Joe was going to make a move down underneath Austin Blaylock, but it looks like he's just going to ride it out right now and just log some laps as these 4, well, now these 3 are starting to pull away from everybody behind. Dave Wright already up into the 6th position, trying to get around Bryn George to move himself up into the top 5. And it looks like Ed DeBauer, Brady Floyd, Josh Carver, Jimmy Green, those guys falling off the pace just a little bit. They're a second and a half behind Chris Wheeler, and that lead continues to grow. So it could be a little strategy being played by those cars a little further back, trying to save a little bit of fuel, or they could just be off pace. It's tough to say. As Chris Wheeler's looking down underneath the 24 of Dave Wright to take over that 6th position. And with just 30 laps to go, I think it would be a good time just to settle down and make it to the end. I think we'll be able to get to the end under green with no cautions. I think these guys can make it to the end. Just a matter of can they keep it clean enough to make it to the end. It's Chris Wheeler trying to island hop here. Looking underneath the 7 of Bryn George, and he's going to get the 7 and the 8 all in one corner. And he's going to try to get all the way up past Joe Wright. Try to take that 3rd position away, but Eddie Morris fights back on the high side. Dave Wright now down to the bottom underneath Chris Wheeler, as Tyler Aspinall runs all the way up against the wall, trying to drag that high lane around. While they're doing that, that second group starting to catch up just a little bit. Chris Wheeler all by himself down on the bottom trying to make something happen. Nobody really wanted to work with him, and now that second group has caught back up to the first one. We've got the whole field all together. Chris Wheeler now starting to slide back. He's been passed by Jimmy Green and by Mike Rentz. He's fallen all the way to the back as we've got 3 wide here between the 3 and the 24. I know the 24 is not too happy with that 3 car right now. But up on the high side, giving him plenty of room. The 88 of Ed DeBauer, though, all the way up into the 4th position. He's starting to make some moves happen all by himself down on the bottom side. Now he's starting to fall back with no help. But the 3 of Josh Carver coming into the mix to give him the big push. Field starting to get single file yet again with Mike Rentz, the only car out of line currently. Chris Wheeler has lost the draft. He's running all by himself back here. Not able to keep up at the moment, and that's not what you want to see out of that 22 machine, as he's starting to slide further and further back. Meanwhile, up front, Eddie Morris and Joe Wright running 3rd and 4th. Austin Blaylock in 2nd, Tyler Aspinall in 1st. Can Joe make the move to make it 3 in a row, or is he going to kind of just settle in here and let somebody else win it, as Ed DeBauer, Josh Carver, Jimmy Green, Mike Rentz all lining up on that low lane. And those machines trying to make something happen. Oh! Big wreck behind. Brady Floyd up into the wall. He's sliding down through the infield grass. No caution. I think Dave Wright may have got a little piece of that as well. Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to the front of that car. The whole back of that car missing. Mike Rentz, a little bit of damage to that 91 machine. As now Austin Blaylock looking down underneath Joe Wright. Joe Wright looking to the lead now on Tyler Aspinall. See if we can see real quick what happened here. We had some three-wide racing, and the 25 came up into the 20. Those two made contact. Dave Wright goes sliding through the infield here. And, yeah, that's what, man, Dukes of Hazzard style. We saw Brady Floyd getting some damage there by catching the inside wall. But Joe Wright now moves up to the lead in front of Austin Blaylock. Tyler Aspinall back into third. And we've got this group here, the 88, the 3, the 7, the 25. Eddie Morris up there in the mix as well, as they're trying to make their way back up to the front. The challenge for the lead. With no caution, that really shakes up the field here. Ed Bauer's pretty much out there by himself, trying to get a push, or trying to get someone to pull him along. But right now he's just barely in the draft of Tyler Aspinall, and it's enough to bring him forward. He's got a big enough toe now where he's starting to reel in those front three. So they make their way down the backstretch. When they cross the line this time, we're going to have just 20 laps to go. Josh Garver now looking down underneath the 88 of the Bauer. Now he's going to tuck back in line. Here comes Jimmy Green catching up to these two as well in front of him. Let's see if those three cars can do something here about Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, and Tyler Aspinall. As the laps continue to wind down, Joe Wright continues to lead. But does the 88, the 3, and the 25 have anything for these front three cars? Are we going to have 19 green flag laps? Or are we going to have a caution that'll shake everything back up as well? As these 6 cars here have pulled away from the rest of the field. Single car out there pretty much clean, with the exception of the 45. Tyler Aspinall has got a lot of damage to the left side of his vehicle, but in the draft able to keep it up there and keep the 82 and 99 in front of him. You see this group back here, Bryn George, Stan Mayberry, currently almost 3 seconds behind the rest of the field. Eddie Morris back here as well. So Eddie, Bryn, and Stan hoping for a yellow to come out to get themselves back up into the mix. as these 6 cars continue to stay lined up and continue to pull away from the rest of the field. And it looks like coming down the pit road, these 3 cars, Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, Tyler Aspinall, Eddie Morris on pit road as well. So I didn't know fuel was going to be an issue. It looks like it will be. These drivers are going to be just a few laps short. That's going to give the lead back to the 88, the 3 and the 25. These 3 cars pit earlier than the 3 that just hit pit road, which leads me to believe that these cars are definitely not good to make it to the end if Joe, Austin, Tyler, and Eddie all just pit. As we see them catching the 8 of Eddie Morris. Eddie will be up to speed enough where he should be able to latch onto these 3 cars and not lose their draft. In fact, he's down on the bottom. He's able to stay right there with them. Those drivers all taking fuel only. See how far ahead Joe, Austin, and Tyler are as they're just coming in to turn number 3. So not too much of a distance between them. It's actually beneficial here for Eddie Morris, who's able to tag along with these 3 and get pulled right back up to Eddie, Austin, and Tyler. A couple more cars on pit road. Stan Mayberry, Bryn George, both hitting pit road this time. And when is this group going to come down and pit? Looks like they're running the high side here, so they're going to stay out at least one more lap. As when they come across the stripe this time, they're going to have just 12 laps to go. And they're doing a great job of saving some fuel here. As we just saw the Stan Mayberry car and the Bryn George car just coming off pit road. And the 88, 3, 25, and 8 are going to go right on. Oh, they're going to jump up to the high side. Bryn George tries to throw a little block here. Oh, some contact. George up the track. So almost a wreck there between the 7 and the 88, but they're able to hold on to it. Continue on. But checking up quite a bit there, allowing Joe Wright, Austin Blaylock, Tyler Aspinall to continue to stretch their legs. As here comes Mayberry and Bryn down to the bottom. Trying to get their laps back the old-fashioned way here. Jimmy Green down on the bottom side trying to follow the 68 and the 7 right on by. We have just 10 laps to go here at Michigan. Have these drivers saved enough fuel to make it to the end? Or are they going to have to come in? Morris now looking down underneath the 88. He's See Ed DeBauer. Now they're coming down the pit road. Oh, the 3 really shoots by. Almost gets into the back of the 88. These 3 able to get down on the pit road. And Mike Rentz will take over the lead unless he comes down pit road this time. Looks like he's going to stay out here. So the 91 of Mike Rentz is going to take over the lead, but he is running all by himself currently. A lot of damage to the right side of that 91 machine. Chris Wheeler sitting back in second currently. He last pit on lap 56. We'll have to see if Wheel is able to save enough fuel to make it to the end. Here comes Joe Wright and Austin Blaylock and Tyler Aspinall as they're catching the drivers that just went down pit road. Joe's going to go right around the 88 of DeBauer. Now they're going to set their sights on Josh Carver. It looks like Jimmy Green, Carver, and DeBauer got separated on pit road by quite a bit. Carver's kind of running all by himself out here. You can see the gap back to the 82 of Joe Wright. This 3 car is just going to get swallowed up when they get there. As Mike Rentz and Chris Wheeler both coming down on the pit road this time. And here comes the leaders on by. Josh Carver is going to reassume the lead. But here comes Joe Wright with the draft in the head of steam. And when he gets to Josh Carver, he's going to look like Josh is going backwards here. As there'll be no match for the 3 machine as the 82 comes on by. The 3 drive all the way down to the bottom, trying to run a little bit more of a defensive line. Here comes Joe Wright looking down to the inside. Austin Blaylock there as well. Tyler Aspinall to follow on through. We have just 6 laps to go as Joe Wright retakes the lead here at Michigan. Tyler Aspinall looking down underneath Josh Carver, trying to take that 3rd position back away. But here comes DeBauer now on the high side, hooking back up with that 3 machine. And we're going to have a little bit of a dogfight going on here. Can Joe Wright hang on for another 5 or so laps to win his 3rd race in a row? A little contact between the 3 and the 45. Oh, the 3 almost gets turned by the 45. Aspinall's going to fall all the way back to the back of this little pack here. So come down the back stretch. We have 4.5 laps to go here at Michigan. Aspinall all the way down to the mound. Is Blaylock going to be a little bit of a blocker here for the 82? As now they're 3 wide behind. And that's what Joe Wright wants to see right now, is some battling behind him. That's going to allow him to kind of pick and choose which lane he wants to stay in. And where it's going to be easier to block the runs coming. Josh Carver has now moved himself up into the 2nd position. And when they come across stripe this time, we're going to have just 3 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Joe? Is it going to be Josh Carver? Is it going to be Austin Blaylock? Can Tyler Aspinall or Eddie DeBauer make a big move here? Although those two have fallen way back off these three cars. They're almost 2 seconds back. Not even in the picture anymore. So it's going to come down to these three cars unless we get a caution. Off of turn number 4. Popsicle sticks are in the air. Flagman showing 2 laps to go. Does Josh Carver have anything for Joe Wright, or can Joe throw the block to keep that 3 car behind him? Joe again runs a little defensive line there off the corner. Doesn't allow the 3 to really catch up on him. Now Carver's going to come back to the back bumper. Going to look down to the inside, but not going to be able to get the run here. And caution is out. Tyler Aspinall backwards here. Stan Mayberry caught up in it as well, and that's going to bring up a wreckage rewind as well as a green-white checker attempt. See if we can see what happened to Aspinall here. As we mentioned, the Aspinall and DeBauer really fallen off the pack quite a bit here. As they're going to come down the backstretch, they're going to be pushing each other. Stan Mayberry, Eddie Morris involved in this as well, and yeah, Tyler just comes down to the bottom and throws a block, and oh, DeBauer just turns him right around. Hard contact for Aspinall and for Mayberry. Well, that's going to change everything here, because we're going to have a restart and a green-white checker. Josh Carver down the pit road. DeBauer, Eddie Morris, Bryn George, Jimmy Green, all coming down to pit road. So doing what the leaders didn't is the name of the game. And let's see our tires going on these cars. We see the right sides jumping up on all these cars here. So fresh tires going on all these cars on pit road. Tyler Aspinall coming in. He's going to take his reset as well. And Josh Carver is going to be the first car off pit road, followed by Eddie Morris, Bryn George, and Jimmy Green. This is going to change the whole complexion of the race here. It's going to be hard for Joe Wright to get his 3rd win in a row with all those cars behind him on fresh tires. Again, don't forget to join us tomorrow night for our doubleheader with the Mayhem Modifieds coming out before the SCSRA Xfinity Series, and it looks like Stan Mayberry blowing his motor right at the entrance of pit road. Fortunately, he might be able to get down on the pit road, but I don't think he's going to be able to make it to his pit stall. And lights are off on the pace car. Joe Wright's going to choose the high side this time. Put Austin Blaylock to the inside. And Eddie Morris now going to be behind Austin Blaylock. And Josh Carver up on the high side behind Joe. So it's going to be quite the battle up here, I think. So here we go. Pace car's getting ready to pull onto pit road. Joe Wright on the high side. Austin Blaylock to the inside. Eddie Morris to the inside. Josh Carver on the outside. Pace car pulls off. Green flag is back in the air. We are back racing as Joe Wright waited till that green flag came out. He saw the big checkup and mix-up in the back there as Joe Wright gets away cleanly over Austin Blaylock. Josh Carver coming into the third position. Here comes Eddie Morris, though. He's right there. Josh Carver takes the big move down to the inside. Low contact between the 99 and the 3. Here comes Eddie Morris looking for the push. Here comes the 25 and Jimmy Green to the inside. Chris Wheeler down there as well. Joe Wright trying to find which lane he wants to block. Now he's going to have to move down to the bottom to block the momentum of that 3 machine of Josh Carver. Is Carver now? Oh, the 35 gets turned around. White flag is out. Austin Blaylock gets turned around. No caution as the white flag is out. More wrecking behind. Aspinall, oh, big wreck behind. It's going to be Eddie Morris, Josh Carver, Joe Wright. Eddie Morris looking down to the inside. Josh Carver to the outside. Eddie Morris taking him 3 wide down the backstretch. As they come into turn number 3. Eddie Morris to the lead. Joe Wright now trying to block the 3 of Josh Carver as Eddie Morris is going to come off in turn number 4. Oh, some contact. Joe Wright almost gets turned around. He does. Hard contact for the 82 machine. Eddie Morris is going to be your winner. Josh Carver is going to come home in second. Mike Rentz is going to come home in third. Then David Wright and Joe Wright is going to limp across the line in fifth. Holy moly, but your winner tonight of the Morris Customs 90 is in fact the driver of the Morris Customs number 8, Eddie Morris. And incredible finish. Just so much going on there at the end. We're going to wait for Eddie Morris to come here and burn down the show. Dean Qualley says, way to go, Eddie. He's going to blow the rear tires off this car. That is one great celebration here from that 8 machine. It's like he was watching Kyle Larson put on a clinic for doing donuts, and Eddie with a very impressive donut there, or celebration there. Let's see if we can take a quick look to see what happened here. As we saw Stan Mayberry go down to the corner. Oh, the 88 and the 45 were already together. They get sent up the track. So let's see if we see what happened here. Is Tyler Aspinall. Well, that was the earlier one. So it starts off here with Jimmy Green getting turned off the front bumper of Chris Wheeler. He goes through the grass. The white flag comes out right after that. Austin Blaylock gets turned by the 45 of Aspinall. And when that happens, Aspinall now down on the bottom, catches Bryn George. The 2 of them make contact. Chris Wheeler involved. Ed DeBauer goes for a wild ride. And then at the very, very end here, Joe Wright off the front bumper of the 3 of Josh Carver. As we take a look at your results, again, Eddie Morris is your winner tonight here. Josh Carver, Mike Rentz, Dave Wright, Joe Wright, your top 5. Jimmy Green comes home 6th. Bryn George, Austin Blaylock, Chris Wheeler, Tyler Espinal, your top 10. 11th will be Ed DeBauer, Stan Mayberry, and Brady Floyd round out the field. As we get ready to talk to our top 3, just waiting for Josh Carver and Mike Rentz to join the server. So I don't see Mike Rentz in just yet. Let's pull in our second place finisher tonight, Josh Carver. Josh, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Oh, what's going on, Josh?
Man, some hard racing there at the end. Having a rough night in that 3-car tonight. Cars pitting in front of you and you're just not able to check up in time. And then there at the end, some hard racing with Joe. I know that wasn't intentional, but what was it like out there racing hard like that at the end?
Man, it was insane. It was insane. I'd like to reflect back on the pit stop deal, though. I do feel bad about that. On my screen, it didn't look like I touched them, but they said I did. It didn't even show contact or anything on my screen, but I could tell by the way his car moved, there was contact made, so I do apologize for that. And me and the 82 there was racing hard, and he had me pinched down. I was holding my line, but I did come up and touch him a little bit. I do feel bad about that, too, but I was still in my groove. He was pinching me down. That's what you do when it's the last lap, last turn. Both of us was trying to go for it there.
Yeah, I know Joe was trying to make it 3 in a row here in the Extreme Forces Racing League, but pit a little early, you guys did. You guys had a little different strategy than the rest of the field. Were you guys
Yes.
expecting that green flag run there at the end, or was that just kind of, well, we should just go in
Yeah.
and see if we can get this done now?
No, that was the whole strategy. Jimmy Green, that's our crew chief. He normally makes most of our calls for us, and he said it was time to go, so we don't question it. We do normally what he tells us. He has a good track record of calling the right strategies, so we tend to do what he tells us to do.
For sure, man, and a great job there for the whole team. And before we let you go, anybody you want to thank? Any shout you got to give here?
Oh yeah, I want to give a shout out to my Red Boys, putting in the work every week. It was great to get out here. I'd like to thank Extreme Force for what they do. This is an awesome league. Intensity Broadcasting, you do an awesome job. I love watching the broadcasts, and got to give Eddie and Mike, good credit. The 82 really should have been third there. But got to give them guys credit, man. They run a good hard race. Shout out to all of them too.
Well, again, awesome
Shout out
job.
to my boy John for spotting for me tonight.
Awesome job, man, and a great way to finish the night off here. And I'm sure as we move on next week to Bristol, how do you like your chances at the short track next week?
Hey, Bristol's one of my best tracks, so I'm looking forward to it. I've had it circled.
Well, awesome, man. Well, we look forward to talking to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, Josh. Thank you.
There you have it, your second place finisher, Josh Carver. Let's move on to our winner tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, Eddie Morris. Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me? Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
There he is. Man, congratulations on the win. Hard fought one tonight. And I know after being bridesmaid the last couple weeks, it must feel good to get that one under the belt.
Man, that was crazy. I knew I had some tires and I could hold it in there, but man, oh man, that was the end of that race was crazy. That's for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely nice to win one instead of push somebody to the win. I hate Joe couldn't have returned the favor there and finished second, third, but it is what it is sometimes.
yeah. There's one point where you were pretty much lost the pack, lost the draft. Fortunately, yellow came out to tighten everything up there, but at that point, you must have thought your race was pretty much over. But the strategy call to try to get in there with Joe and them and get out there behind Josh Carver, I mean, you did everything you could there. Did you kind of think the race was over for you at that point, or were you just hoping for a late race caution?
Man, I knew if it went green, it was pretty much over. I had to take my faster pair there. I don't know what went on the inside of me there. Ended up getting rode into the wall pretty hard and pretty much killed the car. And it was unfortunate. And yeah, like I said, I felt like my race at that point would be over if it went green. But I knew if we had a caution and if I was able to kind of salvage and not fall back too far and hold on to the draft when I could and just hold on, I'd have a chance if there was a caution. And unfortunate for those guys up front, man, they had some really good strategy, and I think they would have had it easily if there wasn't a caution, but there was, and here I am.
For sure, and a great job tonight here. Um, you win your own race. As the race tonight was sponsored by Morris Customs, and you come home with the win, so that's got to feel pretty good too. Before we let you go, Eddie, though, anybody you want to thank, any shout outs you got to give here tonight?
I mean, Intensity Broadcasting, man, the best broadcasters in the business. Everybody that lets me do this thing. I don't ever do this, man, but shout out to Morris Customs. They made that sick paint that's on my car. I made it. But yeah, it was pretty fun, man. I appreciate everybody that lets me do this. And, I was born in Michigan. So again, this is pretty cool too. So
A little home track for you tonight. Well, again, congratulations on the win, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
all righty. Thanks, brother.
So there you have it, your winner tonight, Eddie Morris, here at Michigan, getting the win. And an exciting finish there at the end. Kind of a crazy finish, crazy rundown. But, man, what a race here tonight in the Extreme Forces Racing League. Don't forget to join us next week as these boys take on Bristol for 150 laps there. So that'll be an exciting one. Then we've got the doubleheader tomorrow night with the Mayhem Modifieds, followed by the SCSRA Xfinity Series from Kansas Speedway. So you're not going to want to miss that one as well. I'm sorry, that one's from Kentucky Speedway next week. So you're not going to want to miss that one as well. So that'll be a good one. Thursday night Thunderstruck, Friday night Xfinity Series. So tune in 7 nights a week here on Intensity Broadcasting. Again, congratulations to Eddie Morris on the win here tonight. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter at IntensityBroad1. And as our boy Atman Weiss would say, over and out.